What is up, world? Jim Cirile and Tanya Klein here from Coverage Inc., the leader in screenplay analysis, development, and editing services for over 147 years. Okay, I exaggerated a little bit. What's up, Tanya?
How are you, Jim?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. We're here to bring some education to the people. What are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to talk about query letters because in our last video we were talking about how to get an agent or a manager and what to put into your query letter to be interesting to them. So now we figured let's talk about query letters, how to write them, what goes into a query letter, the do's, the don'ts.
Well, I think the first thing to tell people is what you don't want to do, which is to pitch more than one idea at a time. A lot of people just load up their query with like, here's all my ideas, here's all my log lines, and you know what? We've heard from many representatives over and over. They don't want that. They just want you to sell one idea. If they're interested, like so, take your best shot. What's your best idea? What's your most commercial idea? What's the one you feel the most proud of? And then if they like that, then of course they might want to see, well, what else have you got? Take a look at the rest of your stuff then. But narrow cast, focus on like one thing. Bring your best thing.
Exactly. And put your best foot forward. So start with your log line. Have a killer log line. Hook them in the first sentence.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's also important to say that like the log line is pretty much all that you should bring. I mean, that is a big oversimplification, but so many people kill themselves by writing these like two-page queries or even like a full one pager, like including their one-page synopsis in a query. And while fleshing out your log line with a paragraph or two, that's great. But you got to bear in mind that people, that they're going to give you like 10 seconds. You're going to maybe have 10 or 15 seconds before they hit that delete button. And if they, open up your email and it blows up their phone screen, like, no, next.
Yeah. Basically, in this business, it's all about, okay, I want to grasp it. I want to grasp it in the first 5 seconds, and I want to be hooked in the first 5 seconds. And if
Right.
I'm not, eh. Also, if I see a lot of ink on the page, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to read that.
It's also about showing respect for their time. Like you need to show in your query that you are a professional, right? You're ready for the bigs. And part of that is understanding just how overworked these reps are and showing respect for their time. And if you send them this big brick of text, a page or two or whatever, that tells them this person's not ready. They don't get it yet.
Yeah, so start off with a killer log line, and by killer log line, something that's voicey, a
Yeah.
concept that's marketable, a story that sounds like, oh, I want to read that.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I mean, marketable that I mean we talk about that in several other videos, but so many reps these days are really just looking for stuff they can sell. 10 or 15 years ago it was a lot easier for people to take a flyer on a piece of material even if it isn't necessarily the most commercial idea if they like the voice that's on the query, but now it's just much tougher. So yeah, that log line really should be your most commercial idea.
Absolutely. I mean, in general, in the last 10, 15 years, the business has changed a lot and it's gotten a
Yeah.
lot harder for people. And managers are, they do need to keep the lights on.
It's gotten a lot harder for managers in particular and agents as well. But the past couple of years, specs haven't been selling. Thank God it's coming back now, which is amazing. But how do you keep the lights on when you're not earning commissions and your clients aren't working?
Yeah, so
So
they will look for more of a surefire thing.
right.
You
So
know,
going back to
avant-garde writer with, the great voice and the quirky idea might have a bit of a harder time than the person who's got a really killer marketable concept that they go, oh yeah, I can sell that.
the query letter, what should people have in their query letter? Well, I like to look at it as three paragraphs, right? First paragraph is your introductory salvo. where you say a little something about yourself, hopefully, something that makes you sound really compelling and fascinating and interesting. Doesn't need to be screenwriting related necessarily. It could just be something like, by the way, I'm an award-winning chef. Or, by the way, I just got back from hiking Kilimanjaro. Anything like that that just makes them go, oh,
Interesting person.
yeah,
Somebody
world
I like to
experience.
talk to, or somebody who's got something interesting to say and who has something interesting to write about.
Yeah, exactly. Or it can be, let's say, if you're a comedy writer, the first thing you should do is be funny.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ultimately, time and again, we've seen comedy query letters where you're looking, it's like, where's the funny? And
Yeah.
the only way you know it's a comedy is because they put parentheses comedy
Comedy.
next to their log line. Like, no, be funny, right? But basically, that first paragraph, you're selling you and your voice. This is your chance to say, check out my writing voice, right? And what you want to do is you want that first paragraph to make them want to go to the second paragraph. And if you don't do that in the first paragraph, guess what? Delete. Second paragraph, talk about your project. That's where your log line goes. It shouldn't be more than 3 sentences, although you can elaborate. Now, Tanya, there's a bit of a difference opinion on this that we've seen, right? We've heard that some people want, just the log line, just keep it really tight. And then other people say, oh no, I wanted more in this query. How else am I supposed to decide whether I want to read this material or not?
Well,
What's your
basically,
opinion on
what
that?
yes, I mean, we've heard both, and there's also, two different schools of thoughts where, oh, you should give them the ending or you should not give them the ending, and so some people are like, oh, that's way too long, and other people say, well, but I don't know how it ends. I want to know how it ends. Well, then read the script. But
Right.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. I'm a big believer in splitting the difference. So give them, at least what I do, short, snazzy log line that will hook him like one sentence.
Yeah.
Some interesting paragraph, short paragraph about me. And then another paragraph about a little bit more details, fleshing out the script, the story, um, the potential audience, the
Okay.
marketability. I mean, again, don't make it this, make it this.
Right. So you're basically saying the same thing that I
Yeah.
said, just reorganizing the thoughts. I think if I can reinterpret what you just said, you're basically saying we have a bit of flexibility in terms of how much depth or detail you can put into describing your story apart from just the log line,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Okay. Just, but I think, we always have to keep in mind that, shorter is sweeter. You want to make them want to read the script as opposed to, oh, well, I already know how this story goes.
Yeah.
Eh,
Basically, what you have to focus on, apart from the hook, the marketability hook, is if you can engage them on an emotional level.
no,
That really will help you a lot. In other words, if you can engage them on an emotional level where your story is concerned.
right. Okay. Well, that's a great tip, especially when it comes to stuff that might be like less marketable stuff that's maybe, or perceived as less marketable, things that are more dramatic, things where you can really kind of, get at someone's,
Yeah, also
where they live.
theme. Look, a theme is king nowadays. And theme is king in very marketable projects nowadays. Think horror. I mean, horror is all
Yeah.
theme first these days.
Yeah.
So think theme.
Yeah. For sure. So, I mean, you have all that at your disposal, and you can pick and choose whatever you think best represents both yourself and your material. But going back to what I was saying before, with my 3 paragraphs. So the third paragraph, I generally just put in some sort of bona fides or validation, third-party validation. If you've gotten good coverage, if you've gotten a consider, Coverage Inc. likes my script. Coverage Inc. gave it a consider. Here's a quote from the coverage. You've done well in contests. I mean, look, at the end of the day, none of that stuff really matters because these people hopefully form their own opinion and they know that contests, you can win a contest and it still may not matter, especially depending on the level of the contest, but still, it's something. Anything that you can say to support your position that this is worth their time, if it comes from someone else, is good to include. And then usually I just wrap it up with a thanks for your time. And particularly if you're a comedy writer, that's when you want to do a callback to your opening salvo, where whatever you said in the first paragraph, first sentence, you wrap it up with a callback at the end, hopefully in a funny, amusing way, such as, oh, and by the way, next time you're in Kilimanjaro, look me up.
Exactly. And another important thing, and I should not have to say this, but I know I do have to say this, proofread. I mean, seriously, guys, proofread.
Oh,
Run it through Grammarly. It's really don't send out a query and have three typos in the first sentence.
okay, so let me speak to that. So, Tanya, as we do free query letter analysis here at Coverage Inc. So, by the way, you guys, if you want us to take a look, we'll be happy to. It's free, no upsells. Just email it to us, and you'll get an email back from me personally. I will read it, no AI, no BS, telling you what I think. And guess what? 90% of those queries that come in have typos or grammatical errors. Like you're trying to convey to someone in the film business that you are at a professional level. Now, granted, there are working screenwriters out there who can't spell worth a damn, and they get by just fine. But guess what? They're not you. You're trying to break in. You need to present with best foot forward. Please, Grammarly, it's free. Well, the free version is free, right? Spell check, grammar check. If that's not your bailiwick, then bring in your grammar nerd friends to take a look and make sure you're not missing any words or using the wrong words or misspelling your theirs and theirs. Look, we all get that crap wrong. It's fine, but you need to present as professionally as you can.
Exactly. So again, you can send it to us. We will review it for free.
Yeah. The other part of query letter is just make sure you're querying people who, you've got a shot at. I mean, there are ways to do that. Like, one thing I always recommend is find the lowest person on the totem pole that you can at a company. I mean, look, if you've got a manager's email and can contact them directly, great. But if you're going in, let's say, cold to a production company, you don't want to send it to Steven Spielberg, right? He's not going to read it. His assistants have assistants who have assistants. You get the idea, right?
Basically, get an IMDb subscription, research these people, research
Yes.
who is who they work for, who they work with, what deals they have done. And, especially if you have an assistant that has just been promoted to a desk,
Yeah.
be looking for clients and cool ideas that they can pitch.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Especially if you're talking agencies and management companies. The assistants to agents and managers, they all hope to eventually be agents and managers. So be nice to them, be friendly to them, and pitch them. You never know; they might be building a list quietly in the background, just waiting to be promoted.
Exactly.
So there you go. There's our tips on query letters. Hope it is useful to you. And just remember, the vast majority of queries just get deleted. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Look, if you get one yes out of 100 queries, you're doing pretty good. If you get 3 or 5 yeses, you're doing really good. So just bear in mind that those are the odds and expect that. But that said, it's a great way to get people to check out your material. Don't discount the power of the query, and most of the time they're free unless you're using a service like Virtual Pitch Fest.
Exactly. And again, you can email us at info@coverageinc, that's INK.com, and we will review your query.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button. Why do they always say smash that? Like, you don't really want anyone to smash the button on your keyboard, do you? Whatever. Smash the like button, subscribe, share our videos. Please do all that stuff. We're here for you guys. Remember, send us your queries. We'll look at them for free. Peace out.
Bye bye.